We are working with the Rugby League All-Stars to help support and raise awareness for some of the heroes who play our game. To be a part of it, visit rugbyam.co.uk/all-star events.
Welcome to Rugby AM here on Free Sports, another great dose of Rugby League. Tonight, Jones is being captured by Rich Agar, but we've got loads coming up in the show. We go over to Warrington and catch up with Super Penny Westwood as we check out where are they now, our first one for 2020. We reverse a few weeks as JJB catches up with Sam Burgess in Age Partnerships Hard as Nails. And in the studio tonight, we've got the legend Robbie Hunter-Paul and the Pocket Rocket, the man around the middle from the Leeds Rhinos, Brad Dwyer. Firstly, Rob, let's come to you, pal. It's great to have you here. You're back once again.
Yeah, great to be here. Trying to stay relevant. Let's try to stay relevant in rugby league. Watching as much rugby league as I can. Obviously, I took part in the Rob Burrow JJB testimonial game earlier, so I got back out on the pitch as well. You
pulled that Bradford team together that day. What was it like to be part of that special day? For on the pitch, and obviously Brad playing against you.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I'm real happy. I took the ball to the line a couple of times, and the Leeds defence, they looked after me. So my first touch of the ball, I go to kick over, and I could hear the footsteps in my background, so I got kind of scared. So I was looking at the guys outside me anyway. I go to rip a ball out wide. First ball I've passed in like 3 years, I think, and the ball ends up nearly in the stands. And without missing a beat, the fans straight on it. They did the self-stand chant that they used to have for me, 15, 20 years ago. Robbie Paul, Robbie Paul, Robbie Paul. He gets the ball and he does Paul, Robbie Paul. And I got to admit, it annoyed me. It annoyed the hell out of me. I think I got, someone went to ground, I got the next carry straight away. I think I stepped Jonesy. Let's get that footage up, actually. I think I sidestepped. He overcommitted.
He's been overcommitting today because he's been kidnapped by Rich Agar. But he's a man who you've got loads of reverence for, both Jonesy and Rich Agar. They've done a lot for you.
Yeah, you got to get that in, don't you?
Yeah.
He's the coach.
Brownie points for Rich.
Make sure I've got a job tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah, obviously I've had Rich at Warrington, and it's been great for us ever since. Trying to change our culture, which Jones has been a massive part of as well. Obviously he's a bit deeper when he wants to be Jones, and he's been great.
Right, give us. He's not here, right? So we can talk honestly about him. Give me a mark out of 10 what he's like as a coach.
You've been with underneath some of the best coaches.
No. You talk about both my current coaches.
No, not Agar, but Jonesy.
Yeah, the both similar.
They both sit above him in the pecking order.
Yeah, he's good, mate. He is a deep thinker, like you say, about everything in life. So he's a bit different, mate. He's a bit different. We'll go away from his coaching.
I can only imagine it's an extension of his role as a senior player, as a mentor.
Yeah. I think it's just the way he goes about his life. Like, mate, if you see him, so you give him a microphone, and that's it. Like, this personality comes out, and you're like, who's this guy? It's like he's going around knocking everyone's heads off playing rugby, and then he's just so educated, like emotionally educated. But then I sat aside of him when I first got to Leeds in changing rooms, and I was like, does he not like me or something, Jones? He's not spoke to me for 6 weeks. I've been in 6 weeks. He's not said nothing. He's like this on his phone all the time. And then we went. They just won the.
Looking for quotes.
He won the comp the year before, and he gets up and does this speech, and he nailed it. Yeah. I was like, who is this guy with all these words? And then I said to him, that's an absolute joke. You've not spoke to me for 6 weeks. And that's why, because he sat there on his phone planning all these speeches that he's got. So yeah, he's great, mate.
Obviously, it's been a real journey for you at Leeds, because you come into the club and you said earlier that it was a really different environment.
It was a bit of both. It was moving to Leeds, and then the environment that
you're Wigan through and through,
so it's like a bit of a fishbowl, Wigan, and what I knew, so like literally limited to food. It was like chippies and that's all you ate, and I won't my comfort zone.
What have you discovered since you come to Leeds?
I've tried a prawn. I know you're laughing. Listen, there's not much to shout for. I was like, text my dad straight after, so I've just tried a prawn. It was like buzzing from it, but yeah, I've not since. It weren't that good, so I'll stick with beans on toast.
What else have you tried?
You're a long way from the ocean, still in Leeds though as well.
Yeah, well that's it. And it was just like different people, like Ryan Hall. I got pretty close, and I tried to surround myself around different people, and I always saw bonkers. You never get. If I went back home in Wigan and said I've been doing Rubik's Cube and playing piano with all my mates would look at me, who do you think you are, and stuff like that. But it was just great to meet so many different people and just encourage being yourself and being different and trying new things.
You mentioned earlier about the first time tell us about the first time you got to Bradford, because this is brilliant.
I didn't know anything about England.
Yeah.
So I was sending up, back in New Zealand, I was playing all the junior representative rugby league. I was preparing to join a club called South Queensland Crushers. But Henry said, look, just wait, he come back from England, he had played well for Wakefield, and he said, look, wait, just give my manager, because it's good to have family in England, and it's a good level of rugby over there, and it's full professional. And I said, oh, okay. And I was offered 15,000 Australian dollars, or 10,000 Australian dollars, which is not much, but a part-time job as well. And then this club called Bradford Northern offered me £25,000. Now, the pound was really strong back in those days. So that was 75,000 New Zealand dollars for an 18-year-old kid, you know what I mean? That was like mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing figures. But I knew nothing about England. Anyway, it was a 1 week turnaround between signing the contract and getting on the plane and coming over. And 3 days before we flew out, I'm packed and ready to go. We were the only family in the neighbourhood that had Sky, but we had Sky because of the NRL to watch the rugby league. And so I was watching the movies, and I'll reiterate, I didn't know anything about England, and knew less about England than this, less about the city in the north of England called Bradford. Yeah. And the movie that came on and I watched was a movie called Rita, Sue and Bob 2.
What a film.
I got off the plane with a piece of mum's skirt held tightly in my hand, like I don't want to do it, kicking and screaming I was. And then my first day I got to Bradford, and it's me and the missus and my oldest daughter Aisha, and we're walking around Bradford City Centre, and everyone's staring. And beautiful, I'm looking up the beautiful architecture in the city centre, and people just keep looking at us. And I'm thinking to myself, man, they know their rugby here. You know what I mean? I'm already a superstar. And what I found out was, what I realised was it was because we were walking around barefooted. We had no shoes on. Where we come from, that's a very normal thing to do, even in the city centre, just to walk around barefooted, where obviously it's not a thing to do here in England. After 10 years of living here, though, I went back to New Zealand, and I'm walking up Queen Street, which is the main street in Auckland City Centre, and I'm looking at 50% of the people were barefooted, and I'm thinking, look at this lot. Stay to them.
You've got a similar story because your best mate now at Leeds, Connie Hurrell, he said he's got flippers for feet.
Yeah, that's another side of it. You come and meet, living in Wigan, you don't see many Tongan people. So obviously meeting people like Connie, they come from a totally different place, it's bonkers. But yeah, he's side of it in training, he's like, what's going on with your feet? We look like a little pancake on floor. I don't know that bad. What's going on? He's like, we didn't have shoes when we grew up, mate. Connie was great, mate. When he first came over, he was like best pals, and I'm single, and so I've got loads of time to spend with boys. Connie first came over, new country, going sightseeing, taking him around Manchester and stuff. And then his missus came, that were it. So I would have said it was Connie, and then that's it. I'm like, who's Connie? That guy with the flat feet. Yeah.
Pancake feet.
Yeah. Don't mention pancakes around him, mate.
Let's quickly talk about this weekend, because two games I want to touch on. One is the World Cup Challenge. Did you watch the games?
Yep.
Thoughts on World Cup Challenge?
Mate, I thought, I thought with a little bit more fine-tuning, St Helens would have won that game. Yeah. I think the St Helens came out brilliantly in the opening 5-10 minutes, all guns blazing. They had the rocket launchers out, and they were firing everything at them. And I think Roosters, they took it. They took it, but then they came back the final 30 minutes of that first half. For me, they had the lion's share of keep bending St Helens back, which is a weird thing to watch St Helens get bent backwards, because they got such a big pack.
This weekend you played Salford, another win on the board, and you got over, put Gailey in for a nice try. Just a little shimmy through,
Yeah.
done me half.
Backhand, did you go to look after you?
No, he's not actually. I shouldn't have even been on tonight. I
know, Gailey wanted you on
should have been
tonight.
on, but obviously Storm Dennis over the weekend blew his fringe back off, so he's gone back for his fringe at Salford, so can't make it. He let me off because I set him up. I set him up at the weekend, so he can't be angry for me saying that. But yeah, it was we took like the conditions were probably the most difficult that I played in. Obviously it didn't look too bad, but the wind, it was swirling all over the place, and that really affected us. It was hard to handle. But yeah, it was a massive win. We weren't great. We know that it wasn't great. But last year we probably lost that game for us to win, and we wasn't great. And we had some confidence.
What's the difference though?
Well, that probably one of the things is if we've got through some. As a group, you've got to create an environment and a culture, and you've got to go through some stuff in pre-season, some dark days when you're getting flogged. You've got to go through some meetings where you open up to each other and care for each other. And so then when it does get tough in season, that you get through them tough moments, you get the wins, which is then another experience to progress you on to later on in the year to hopefully try and win something.
One player you were close with, someone you played a long time with, was Super Benny Westwood. Tell us, just set the scene before we go and watch Super Benny in action now. Set the scene for us. Yeah,
he's one of the best blokes I've met. He's one of the best blokes I've met, and obviously when I came through, I did about 4 or 5, well, maybe 6 years with Benny. But Benny, mate, he just spent all his time with young lads and stuff like that. I think it was because he was 4-year-old in his head. And he was like similar. He was like he had on them same levels as us. He was just great, mate. He had no ego. Mate, the worst trainer you'll ever meet. I'm sure so many people have said it about him.
Worst trainer?
Yeah, he was awful, mate. he was awful. Like, you think, like, can this guy play rugby league? And then he'd go out there and he'd do 80 minutes and do so many tackles, and he'd be great, mate. He's class and he's infectious. He's infectious with his laughing, so he's great.
Let's go over now and to Super Benny Westwood's Food Emporium. Yeah, you heard it right. Check this. Where are they now?
I'm Benny Westwood, and you remember me from my time at Warrington Wolves. And now I'm a retired man. Here is my new venture, Super Benny's Food Emporium. Forgot me already. Can you believe that? I've not even been retired 2 months. Well, we had an idea, me and my good mate Brazy had an idea of opening a coffee shop with a shipping container converted, but we wanted it around this area. It fell through because it was stationary and the planning permission and all that. So I said to my good lady, shall we just buy a butty van? Because we can move it. And 2 days later we went and bought one. Yeah, thank you. I said it is the way. Cheers, pal. Nice. So we're on this is a new estate. This is like, I think it's about 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 5 years old. So all these new factories that have been put up. We've been here for a good 6 weeks now, but these people are just starting to realise that I'm here. We're getting new people every day. The banter started happening again with the figures. A lot of them are from Liverpool, Scousers, don't know much about rugby league. So it's great to chat about that with them, and they're starting to get a little bit interested in what I do. But no, it's great fun, and like I say, it's just steady away at the minute, but it's getting busier every week. That brown sauce on other one as well?
Yeah, please, mate, yeah.
So I used to like good fine dining food, and I tried to start cooking a little bit at home, but yeah, I enjoy it. It was like a little pastime at home that I like doing. I liked inviting people around and having them try it. Hey! What's that? $3.50. I wouldn't necessarily say I've been crazy off, but the coffee shop was going to cost a lot more money, so me and him were going to go together and do it, but obviously that fell through. This obviously doesn't cost us much. I'd be doing all the work here, and he wouldn't. He'd be still doing his assistant job at Warrington. So I thought, shall we do it? I'll do it on my own. He's all right about it. He's not too bad. He's all right. He likes what he's doing, and he's got a long future in rugby, I think, in coaching wise. So he don't need anything like this. He was one of the first ones to come. That's when I went opening at 4:30. That lasted about 3 days, and nobody came apart from Brazy till about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I thought the week after started at 7. The second day I'd opened, I went on my own, and Josh Charlie texted me saying, "I'm on my way, pal, to see you." I went, "All right, nice one." there's 9 of us. I was like, oh my God, I'm on my own here. And I was struggling, I was panicking, I was sweating, but we got it out there. But it's always nice to see him again, and obviously I still see him at work now and again when I'm there. But it's nice for him to come here and support me. It's great. Thank you. I've got that TikTok song in my head. I'm still involved in rugby with the club at Warrington, Joe. I've got the ambassador of the club now. I'm involved in coaching the women, which is part of that. So I'm still keeping my hand in a little bit of rugby. I've been asked to go on the Man of Steel board, so again, I'm going out and watching games. But I'll always be involved in rugby. It was part of my life for a long time, and although I stopped playing, even though I still feel I could play, but I'll think that when I'm 50, 60 years old. But it's nice to be involved. The club have been fantastic, great, giving me this little job, so which takes the pressure off this. This doesn't really. I don't really have to do that well early on, because I'm still getting a salary from the club for the job that I do there. So big thanks to them for what they've done. Cheers, pal. I'd love to get involved in some of these charity games, and over what they do around the summertime, I think they usually are. So I'll always put my hand up for stuff like that. I want to get involved in the PDRL as well. So I played one game from last year. I did 3 minutes at the end of one game because I had a game 2 days later against Saints. But I thought while I was there, I'll join in, and I did. But I'd love to get involved in that as well. So so like I say, rugby's a big part of my life, and it's not just going to fit away anytime soon. This is where you want to get it, when I melt the cheese. The little flamethrower. Hey. As you can see, I've got the little one here. The eldest comes over when she's not working, so it's nice to have a little family business and all working together. We're going to take over the world with this butty van. I know Amazon are scared to death. I've had a few people coming asking questions, so if Amazon want to fight, we'll take them on, won't we? Yeah!
Bring it on! I've got an issue with Where Are They Now, boys. I've got an issue with Super Benny. I noticed on the board it says balm cake. Sandwich balm. It's a bread cake. It's from Normie. What is going on?
Let me understand. So you got balm cake, you got bread cake, you got tea cake.
Mate, it's a bread cake.
You guys in England, you think about the South Sea Islanders as tribes, right? As tribal. This is the most tribal country on the planet. Honestly, you live on the other side of the street, you won't talk to that lot. You sit on the other side of the stream, you're in the same village, but if you're on the other side of the street, you won't talk to them. I don't talk to that lot. They're funny, that lot. And it's passed down through the generations. You're crazy, you lot.
Yeah, it's a balm cake though.
It's a balm
cake. You can go in Morrison's and it says Warburton's 4 balm cakes.
Yeah, but if you go to Morrison's up here in Yorkshire, they name it something different.
Yeah, they're not Warburton's ain't that daft. They're not double printing something for Yorkshire.
I'm telling you.
I promise you.
I'll take you straight after this. It's a bread cake, mate, 100%.
Well, what you got to do, I'll go to Chippy Hawk, have a chip bread cake and gravy, please. No, it's chip balm gravy.
I love you, mate, but it's not. You're in Yorkshire now, don't forget.
Well, what would you say?
Bread cake? Or if I go to Chippy?
Yeah.
You don't go to Chippy, do you, Sam?
What do you reckon? Reese's, bad boy, I'll take it.
That's cutting out that.
Yeah, but what would you say?
It's just a bread cake.
You know, I go in, Chip Buddy, there would do,
bread cake. Chip butter bread
See,
cake.
so many different edges of balm cakes. You can have chip
Fish
balm
butter,
gravy.
mate. Fish butter is the next
Fish
level.
and chip buddy.
Fish butter is the next
That's
level.
why I asked for.
Tartar sauce. Playing you into the end of the part is this little feature we recorded a couple of weeks ago, and it's Sam Burgess's Age Partnership 5 Toughest alongside Jonesy. Check this out, and we'll see you right here for more Rugby AM in part 2, only on Free Sports.
How fortunate am I to be getting the 5 toughest with one of the most, if not the most iconic player of the modern era. It is, of course, Sammy Burgess. Now, when we talk about toughness, sometimes it's that physical ability to run over your opponent, but sometimes it's just having that ability to play through pain, having that bravery in the biggest times of need, being there for your brothers, supporting your teammates. He's already given me a little bit of advice, but now you're going to give me the 5 toughest players that you've ever played against. So let's start with number 5, Sam. Who's at number 5?
Well, I couldn't put them in any order, so there is a number there, but these are just, I'd rank them in the top 5. So I would say these are all as tough as each other. Right?
Yeah.
But I've got Gaz Ellis here. We touched on him earlier in the show. But just as I played with and against him, when I played with him, I just loved it. He was just fierce. He didn't take a backward step. He was aggressive. He's that old school player. You know, he could hit like anyone else. And, yeah, he could hit. He was aggressive, and he meant it. You know, he really meant it. And he carried the ball strong. He was probably an underrated player, but and then playing against him, exactly the same as when he's in your team. He didn't take a backward step. You know, there was no shortcuts in him, and he knew he was always going to give 110%. So. Gaz Ellis in my top 5.
And he was one of those boys, and I want to think about the players, the forwards who've gone over to NRL and conquered it. Moz, there's yourself, James Graham. You'd rate Gareth Ellis up there, who's gone over from the UK and done a great job in NRL as well.
Yeah, well, Gaz went before me, and so Gaz inspired me to get over there as well as Moz. You know, so he went Moz, Gaz, and then I went over. And Gaz over there, he's a household name. They loved him. The West Tigers fans absolutely loved him. Yeah, for every reason we've just said there, he's as hard as nails, and he's as committed as any other player I've ever seen. So, you know, he's what a career, and he's still going.
Wonderful player. Played against him and with him for a fair few years. Pat down at back row. Wonderful, Gaz. You're in there, top 5. Who else is in your top 5, Sam?
I've got Sonny Bill Williams here as well. Yeah, we didn't play against each other too many times across our career. Probably I'd say 6 to 8 times across our career. But every time we played, we had a head-on collision every single game. You know,
he's got to come off second best.
Yeah, well, he got me a couple of times. We had a couple of big contacts, but in the context of games, when you met him with a challenge, he rose to the challenge, and you know, as another player, as another big guy in a team, I appreciate that. Because we gave the fans what they wanted, I got what I wanted, he probably got out what he wanted sometimes, and you know, I made a point of his first game back in league. I ran straight at him because I wanted to just test the water and see what happened there, and I think from that day it set the tone that every time we crossed that white line, it was game on. But he's got a great work ethic, and he's obviously got a lot of inner belief, because you know, it takes a bit of courage to make those decisions, to step in the ring and box. I mean, he boxed Francis Both, and Francis Botha. He fought Mike Tyson. So these guys are not an idiot, you know. These guys are a serious boxer. So he's a phenomenal athlete. I don't know if I'd step in the boxing ring with him. You know, he's a tough guy. So he's, you know, what a great competitor, mate. I've had some classic battles. Probably the best is 2013 semi-final in the World Cup. Wembley Stadium was cracker.
The only battle I had against him, I think, was 2005, using the crowd as well. Ellen Road World Club Challenge. I scored in that game as well, Leeds Rhinos versus the Canterbury Bulldogs. Back in the prime, long time ago.
You're still in your prime now, Jones. You're looking good.
I'm in next chapter. Right then, we've got Gaz Ellis, got Sonny Bill Williams. Who else is in your top 5, Sam?
I've got James Graham. Yeah, he's tough competitor. In my first tour, they put me in as a roommate with him, and in the first 2 weeks he didn't say much to me. I thought, who's this bloke? How rude is he, you know? He wouldn't even say much to me at all. But over the course of 4 or 5 weeks I broke him down, and we became good friends after that. And particularly when we were in Australia, the media hype around me and James was huge. They would sell tickets on the back of me and James, because we didn't say much in the lead up. But for me, I was training my mind. Right? I was all week. I won't talk to him. I won't acknowledge him. I won't look at him in press conference. I won't give him an inch. And I would condition myself to hate him.
Right.
So by the time I crossed that line, I hated him. For that 80 minutes, I hated him. I really did. And that's what I did. And I dare say he'd be doing the same thing. And it just created some fierce battles.
Could you believe it, those moments in the grand final, and just talk me through the probably after the big bang, let's call it the big bang, those few seconds, 3 or 4 seconds after the big collision, you and Jammer James Graham in that grand final, what ran through your head?
No, well, I was a bit gutted, because I thought it could have been the end of the night. So I was gutted really. I wasn't thinking about James. I was thinking about the team and my situation. But it's funny, a scrum happened about 4 minutes into the game, and James was my opposing the front row, and he looked at me and he was genuinely concerned. Really? And he looked me square in the eyes and he said, "Sam, mate, your face is so bad you should go off." And I looked him straight back square in the eyes and I said, "F off, jammer." And then he just went, "Oh, well, F you." He said, "Your face looks like a dropped pie." Those were his exact words in the middle of the grand final. Yeah. But I thought, no way. I said, "I'm not going off. That's giving you what you want." So I'm like, "No, we're staying on." And yeah, we ended up getting him that night. He's a cracking night, but you know, we've had some serious battles, mate. People still can't believe to this day in Australia that we're actually friends.
Really?
They don't think we're friends, yeah.
We are working with the Rugby League All-Stars to help support and raise awareness for some of the heroes who play our game. To be a part of it, visit rugbyam.co.uk/all-star event.
Welcome back to Rugby AM here at Free Sports Part 2. Jonesy is not here tonight. He's let us down. He's let us down. He's going to get told off. You can tell him off for me tomorrow training, but we have got Brad Dwyer, Robbie Hunter-Paul in the studio. Boys, do you like your peas? Are you peas fans?
No. Yeah.
No, you're not a peas fan?
No. Mushy peas from Chippet? No, beans, me.
Beans? You're
yeah.
a beans man. Yeah. Well, for me, it's Bachelor's mushy peas, obviously. About yourself, Rob?
No, I grew up with just normal peas.
Yeah.
I didn't eat mushy peas for 10 years, a decade after being here. But since eating them, you know, you get the Yorkshire pie, pork pie,
yeah.
and mushy peas, and what is it, the mint sauce on it? Oh, yeah.
Pudding in Wigan, that. Pudding.
What do you mean?
Steak pudding, Babby's Yed.
What's that?
So if I went chipping Wigan, I'd go...
Babby's Yed?
No, Babby's Yed. So like a baby's
head.
Yeah, it looks like a baby's head, that, a steak pudding.
Babby's Yed?
Yeah, so it's called Babby's Yed. So if you went to chipping Wigan, I could have Babby's Yed.
See what I mean? That's 30 minutes drive to Wigan.
Yeah.
This is the most tribal. They use
What do you drive a
different language.
Is he getting there?
In context.
Yeah, Babby's Yed.
Babby's Yed. That's mental.
It looks like a little bit. Have you had a steak pudding
I'm going to
before?
go in next week when I go to Wigan and go. When I go to see George Burgess, I'm going to go, "Can I have Babby's Yed, please?" And we'll see if they
In
know.
Chippet, I swear to
And
God.
I'm going to film it and Instagram you and see if
And
it's
you'll change your life, mate.
It'll change my life.
The best things are like an upside down pie.
Upside down pie.
But it's not actually
Why is it
pie, it's
upside
different
down?
pastry. It's different pastry.
Why is it upside down?
Well, I don't know what pastry it is. Different pastry.
But why is it upside down?
Because so it looks like a Babby's Yed then.
Babby's Yed, well, one of our proud partners is Bachelor's Mushy Peas. We do loads of stuff with them, and soon, Amateur Try the Week will be back. Junior games kick off on March the 1st, and you can get your junior team, your kids' tries on the show every week, back again this year. But right now, we've got a special player telling us about this month's competition, Scott Taylor.
Hi there, Scott Taylor here from Hull FC. We'd love you to join us on Good Friday for the derby. To win tickets, click on the link courtesy of Bachelor Peas.
4 corporate tickets, OKR, living the dream.
Yeah, that's it. Nowhere better.
Nowhere better.
East Hull.
Is
Is it East Hull?
It is East Hull, yeah.
I
do love. It's got I love it OKR because it feels like an old school ground still. Do you know what I mean? It's still got that atmosphere.
Because it is. That's
Yeah,
why.
but I mean, it's like
they built the stand on the news stand. They built it on the wrong side because it doesn't. You should have put it there so the wind stops coming through. It's still the windiest place on the planet, man.
It is actually. It's a cold. It's dippy, but the fans have got good banter there.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Belting. When you're other side of it constantly.
Rob, I want to talk to you. Sam is going to be doing the Rugby League Cares ride, the Empire 500, the UK Red Empire 500 ride. What does it mean to have Sam there? Because it is a different profile coming onto the ride.
I got to admit, we met up with Sam before he went back to Australia after you'd done all the filming with yourself. And that's why he flew over, wasn't it? Just to do all the filming for Rugby AM.
That's it, mate. Yeah.
And he really wanted to do it. Because obviously the challenge is quite exceptional. But he was actually also quite nervous, very nervous about it, because as you can imagine, a very different engine requirements in regards to doing 80 minutes worth of extreme sort of high intensity interval exercise, as opposed to sitting on a bike for 10, 11 hours a day and being non-stop. And it's something that you have to not only get your body around physically, but you have to get your head around psychologically as well. It was just relentless. And you know, you're up at silly o'clock in the morning, you're back on the bike at 8 o'clock, and your backside, your ass, oh my gosh, it's just in bits and pieces. You cannot. I had to get a fine every day because last year I bought on one of those online services a big gel pad to put on my cycle seat and still it didn't really work, but it was better than sitting on my seat again.
It's still comfy in this couch.
The worst couch on
sorry,
the
Jones.
You've got Danny Maggs on it.
Danny
You've
Maggs,
got,
yeah.
Yeah, you got
Nathan McAvoy's on
Nathan
it as well.
McAvoy.
Sam's
Keith.
doing it. Keith's there
We're
as
filming
well.
a documentary. We've
Keith
got
is so miserable. Everyone else is so happy, and they pull people along, and you talk each other up and that. And then you've got Keith. He's just this anchor of miserableness, you know. No, it's awesome to have him. You have all of these sort of athletes, but you know, everyone becomes an athlete, and you start off with this journey, and it's so testing, but you've got to get through it.
Are you scared about
It's
the
psychological.
Bears? The Bears.
Well, all I've got to be is faster than the person behind me.
Because they're riding from Toronto to New York.
Yeah.
And on this off-road cycle, there's bears, grizzly bears,
And beware of bear signs.
and they can run at 30 mile an hour.
Faster than we can cycle.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That is bonkers.
But
That's crazy.
like we're saying, you only have to be as faster than the slowest person.
Yeah, just throw someone to wolves at the
Yeah.
back.
You're a keen cyclist, Brad, though. You bought a new bike, didn't you?
How would you bring this up? I forgot he's not even teed this up.
Tell us about your bike.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so I bought my apartment in Leeds, and I'm about half a mile away from the training ground. So I was like, oh, good idea, save the and all that. I'll buy a bike on the other ride to work scheme. I was like, I fancy getting a new bike. It's not great, the area I live in, and the apartment block was just new, so it was still having bits, so it was still like a building site really. So anyway, I put the bike in my corridor on where my apartment is, but I tied it up to the radiator, and that's what I was tying up for 2 weeks. And then I heard the builders come up through the hallway, and I heard them through the walls saying, "Who's this idiot tied the bike up to the radiator? They only cut this wire and it's gone." So then I thought, right, I'm not going to put it there anymore. I put it downstairs in the lobby to the staircase, on metal staircase. I thought, they can't get rid of that. Anyway, the first night it was in there, someone been in, cut it off. I walked past it on the way to training because I didn't ride the bike to train anyway. I got in my car and I just walked past it. I turned around and I went, just a cut lock on the floor, so the bike had been pinched, yeah. So it lasted 2 weeks. Still paying for it. I'm ride to work scheme. Not had it for 2 years.
Would you do the ride? Would you be up for something like that? Is that
I've only got short legs, me, Anna. I've only got short legs, so I wouldn't be great.
You've got longer legs than me.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're
about
vertically
that.
challenged when it comes to our legs, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd be up for this. It seems like a great challenge, obviously, for a great cause, and I would imagine they're pretty special to be a part, a bit of camaraderie between each other, and that'd be pretty good.
Without a doubt, let's go now and catch up with Sam again as he gives us his part 2 of Age Partnership, Hard as Nails.
So last two, is it?
Yeah, I've got Petro Sivanasiva. And
He's one of the old school ones, isn't it? He comes up with some of the older ends.
Yeah,
Why Petro?
Well, Petro, because you know, for me, Petro was he's a gentle bloke, and he's not there was never that crazy physical confrontation. But what you got with Petro was every time you tackle him, it's like tackling this granite here. It's like stone. He's rock solid, and he'd just keep going all day, all night, carrying the ball, making his tackles, and. Minute 1 was the same as minute 80 with Petro, and I always admired that in players. You know, he led his country, he led the Broncos, he won competitions over there, and you know, away from the game, he's just such a beautiful bloke. He's doing wonderful things over there in the game. You know, he's just such a great inspiration for a lot of kids over there, and you know, he's polite, he's well mannered, and he's one of the few guys that you know, captures the hearts of everyone. You know, every fan across the game. And, you know, as an opponent player, someone that didn't really know him, but he's always, whenever I see him over there, he's always polite and comes and we talk about our games against each other, and you know, he's just a great all-round guy.
He sounds like a hero, mate. The amount of
Yeah,
times
you'd love
that he
it.
comes up. I've never played against him. I once played against Ruben Wiki, who reminded me like a bronze statue.
Yeah, you'd love him,
Could not move him at all. A great deal of reverence for those older players. So Sam, I think we've got one more player in there. It was the final.
One more. We've got Jared Warrior-Hargraves, Kiwi international and Roosters player as well. So we've had a lot. I've probably played against him more than all these other players here. You know, he came into the Kiwi setup quite young, and he was a bit flashy and flamboyant, and you know, he liked to put himself out there a bit. So, you know, since then we've just had a good running battle. We've had some huge games, big finals, and big international clashes. We've had some great run-ins. You know, one thing I admired about Jared, he always offered himself to me. You know, he always gave me a shot at him, and I'd always give him a shot at me. And you know, there's not many blokes out there that do that. You know, and he didn't just do it once; he would do it consistently over a game. He'd have 3 or 4 goals where we'd look at each other and we'd have a collision, and he wouldn't veer off the line. And you know, I've got to respect that as a player. He put himself out there.
Mate, you've just ignited some unkindled wood in my heart right there, right? Let me just ask you a question. So at this day and age, get a lot of coaches talking about where fullback stands and counting numbers and running, and I've got this argument in my mind that some players just like the violence, they just like the collision, the gladiatorial nature and the ability to run into a guy and get some gratification from doing it for 80 minutes and then standing in the game saying, I've got a bit of respect, I've got a lot of respect from you. Is that a side of the game that you love and the reason why you played rugby league?
Well, it is. I mean, I've modelled my game off that for the last 15 years, Jonesy. You know, and that's why I respect players that are similar, because the game is what it is. It's a tough game. It's man v man, team v team. That's what it is, right? You know, and I do understand there's a technical side of it as well, but I sometimes feel we can be overcoached and players are overcoached, and we have trying to squash things out the game, and I understand that for the safety of players, and we want to encourage kids to go and play the game. But over the years, the formula's not really changed. You know, it's what the fans love to see. It's what we love to do as players. We're putting on that shirt, and it's man on man. And you know, you're a tough competitor your whole career. You'd have loved the physical side of things, and it's what makes us different to other sports, I believe.
Absolutely. Now, he is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, asset to World Rugby League over the modern era, and that was Sam Burgess' 5 toughest.
Absolutely outstanding to hear from Big Sam there. Some good players. You mentioned Petro, Stephen. You played against Petro, but you said that the scary one for you was Gordon Tallis.
It was, yeah. You know, I had the luxury of playing against, geez, I think all of those guys. Oh no, not
Gaz Ellis.
No. I played. Gaz is that old.
Yeah.
He is that old. He is. No, I played against them all. But yeah, Gordon Tallis was something. He was a creature, man. Yeah. He was an absolute creature, and he was in the prime of his career. This is when I first come onto the scene, 1997, 98, around about that time. And he was a Super League, Australian Super League player, so that's who we played. New Zealand Rugby League was aligned with Super League. And God, it was a nightmare for me. He must have been told by every coach that played here, Robbie's your guy to get at. And, you know, the first time I remember, he just, like a raging bull. I think that was his
nickname. That was his nickname,
Raging Bull. And it was, you've never seen more evil, more hate. I'm like 11 stone wet through. And he's, and next minute, so I just go, well, okay, here it comes. And looking up at the sky and thinking, what happened there? So I worked out a plan, and that was he couldn't pass the ball. He was great running the ball, but he couldn't pass the ball. So basically just get to him, because he wasn't going to, I could leave the line. You know, you get into trouble for getting upstream. Yeah. I could leave the line because he wasn't going to do anything. Now forwards are getting taught, catch and release. Yeah. You know, get in twos, catch and release. But back in those days, it was just up, you know, 1 out run, whoa. And so I used just to get under and just get tangled up in his legs. I never did a big hit on him. I didn't do a big hit in my career. But I got tangled up in his legs and didn't get past me. But he trampled me a few times. You weren't the only one. There was a few of them.
Any times you've been absolutely smashed in your career, can this stick out?
Smashed. I got run over at the weekend. I knew ran over me at the weekend. Literally ran over. But speaking about Gaz Ellis, he's one that you get them noticeable. Everyone's pretty tough to tackle when they get. But every now and again, it's noticeable that they'll hit marble, and I know people are using it as and it's like, oh, I'll speak about how tough he is, but he was one that I was pretty shocked, and I've only played against him at the back end of his career, but yeah, he was like marble. Yeah,
I tell you, you have these certain players from different teams, and you have a bit of anxiety that you're going to play against them, and you've got to deal with that because you know the tools that they got. But the one that created the most anxiety for me and I reckon my teammates at the Bulls at our height when we were dominating really anything, were Rob Burrow.
Yeah,
he was frightening because it
not
was
normal.
so hard to get your hands on him. For a guy that big.
Yeah. And that's what we were saying. We were saying that earlier about obviously we played Paul at the weekend, Nicky Fogg, great, massive players, and like I say, if they're running at me, it's a threat, and it's going to be hard for me. He's 5'2", not much weight behind him to deal with them. But then we spoke about on the other side of the game that's what frees me up to do what I can do, and probably play on how big they are and when they get a bit tired.
Yeah, there's nothing better when you see them make 3 tackles. You go, whatever way you're pointing, I'm running.
Robbie, I want to take you back real quick to Wembley, because you first played to score a hat-trick at Wembley, but you cost yourself some money that day.
Okay, so I'll set it up quickly. No one had ever scored a hat-trick at Wembley. Going into that final, Danny Arnold had scored, I think, 3 hat-tricks in that opening part of the season. John Scales himself, he had scored a couple of hat-tricks. So there were hat-trick scorers. And what position scores hat-tricks? What position?
Wingers.
Wingers. Do they deserve the money? so no one had scored a hat-trick at Wembley.
And there's 10 grand put off.
And the sponsors at the time put up £10,000. So the media just went crazy with it.
I wouldn't be passing. I wouldn't be passing there. I don't pass as it is, never mind. That's up for grabs.
Well, this was a problem. The media were making such a big thing of it. Brian Smith, who was the coach at the time, came to me and said, we've got to squash this. This is becoming a bit of a distraction. And so me and my great wisdom thought, I've got an idea. So I stand up and I say, guys, this is a team sport. Very rarely does any one person deserve to have that. It's always on the back end of the forwards doing the quick play of the ball, or great defense and dominating the opposition, and us staying on the front foot. So here's the idea: if you're lucky enough to score a hat trick, when you put half in the team fund and you keep half yourself. Oh, sod's law. So I scored the hat trick, and I got to admit, oh man, you've never seen more vultures in your life. The whole team around me every day for the next. It took 6 months to clear the check.
Oh wow!
It took ages. So every day, you signed the check yet? You signed the check yet? They thought I had got the money.
Yeah.
And I hadn't written out my side of the bargain.
Yeah.
And anyway, it eventually come in, and oh man. Can you imagine signing a check for $5,000 that you know is going to be up against the wall in Ibiza at the end of the season? Can you imagine how hard that is to write?
It's about 24 hours.
Mate, I'm there. Tears are rolling down my cheeks while I'm writing this check out. And yes, it wasn't Ibiza, it was Tenerife. So, yep.
You got stung for $5,000.
$5,000.
This weekend, just gone, there were a really special moment in rugby league. Young kid, Caden Bailey, being bullied. Everyone got behind him. It went global, the story, and he was led out. He led the teams out for the All-Stars game, the Maori All-Stars versus the Indigenous All-Stars, and I haven't seen a game with such passion for so long. How did you feel watching that game?
It was incredible. Obviously, watching the haka performed, and then watching the response to the haka by the Indigenous All-Stars. And you got to understand there's a lot of, again, moving parts with the Indigenous All-Stars, because they're coming from the islands. Australia is the size of a continent, where it's probably easier to manage the Maori culture, whereas this actually, if you live in Perth and you're an Indigenous person over here, it's probably very different to, if you live in Townsville and you're an Indigenous person from there, your cultural understanding and the legacy and how it's developed. So an amazing bit of pageantry, so much emotion, really busy, and that's the best turnout that they've had supporting that game. I was sitting on the edge of my seat that entire 80 minutes because New Zealand Māori's hugely proud race. They got handed their backsides last year.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'd seen a lot of the communications coming out of the Māori camp during the week, you know, how tight they were, and you could just, you know, when you can sense how much it means to them. And then you saw the performance by both those teams. That game could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But it was pure passion. There was some ability, but there were big hits, there were big runs.
What it meant to him when like Kev Proctor came on, got stuck in, you seen his face, and obviously Brandon Smith having a worldie of a game. He looks tired, and all of a sudden.
So I'm a New Zealand Warriors. I'm a New Zealand Warriors fan, and God, you see all the social media feed now.
Yeah.
Get Brandon Smith back to New Zealand. You know, New Zealand Warriors, a New Zealand boy through and through, should be a New Zealand. And he is.
He's from the island, isn't he?
He's right in the Auckland Harbour. Yeah. There's an island called Waiheke Island.
Yeah,
and it's pretty much a commune for artistic and creatives people, and there's a bit of farmland out there. But that's sort of, they're kind of called islanders, you know. You're from Waiheke Island. They're a bit strange, a bit creative, that lot. But if you understand his narrative, you got to here to catch a ferry from the island to Auckland City, then catch 2 buses to go to his training, to dedicate himself to. Yeah, he was committed from day one, and I think you see that. And, you know, that guy can't get a start.
Yeah, I know.
He can't get
one
a start.
game for Melbourne. Yeah. You had that, didn't you, at Warrington?
Yeah, and that was it, because I had Mickey and Monners, and it weren't that when we signed Daz Clark, great nans, and it wasn't that, it was no matter what I did that week. So I'd be running around like an headless chicken trying to play my best game for 20 minutes, and no matter what I did the week after, I won't be in the team. So it was a difficult situation to be in, whereas Daz had probably come through somewhere at Cass, who think, oh, I've got a bit of young talent here, we'll give him a go, let him get some experience, and he'd probably played 100 games and before I'd played 15, 20, and not necessarily, but I was playing 10, 15 minutes off bench, or he was doing 60, 70 minutes. Now you think of how much exposure he's getting to playing actual rugby league and learning, and being a part of the game, and that is what you need. So sometimes it is your way through, and how you find your way, because you've got to play to, and I've done that lately.
You're definitely a box office player. You come up with some of the biggest, you know, in a season where Leeds really struggled in 2019, you come up with some of the biggest sort of like highlight reel plays in the season. What specifically are you looking to develop in your game now then?
Well, it's about spotting when is the best opportunity for me to run, and the only way I'll get better at that is to experience it more through more game time. So yeah, we've had conversation, me and Rich, about what is best for the team, and I come up with some good players and some big players for us last year, but probably affected us in some other ways by taking some wrong options. So it is about, for me, noticing when's the best time for me to run, when's the best opportunities, and I've got 2 great halfbacks outside me, outstanding talent on flanks with Connie, Ash Angley, Harry Newman, Wacker. So it's just about me knowing when's best to give it them and let them play on the back of them, instead of trying to create something for myself.
I always thought that I learned more from the players around me than I did from any other coach, and I think that's part of your development. Coaches have got 30 people to teach.
Yeah.
You know, when you get good mentors in your team, and I've been blessed to have, I was blessed to have quite some really high quality ones, then you're onto a good thing.
Brad, how did you feel when Leeds signed Cruz Leeming, honestly?
It's difficult. So obviously, you don't want anyone in your position. You want a free run, and you want there was no pressure on. But it was always going to happen. I knew when I signed my new deal, it was always going to happen. They're not going to win a season with one hook, whether they're made up or not. It was always going to happen. We need to cover the position it is, the minutes we do. For it to be a young English player, I think it's great. Similar age, he's a great talent. And we've already had conversations, and it's such a shame about his injury. So we spoke about just pushing each other and being the best that we can be, and whoever plays at most minutes or whatever, and that'll be best for the team. I've like I said, I've been behind great nans all my career. I've been Mickey Iron, Mick Monners.
Who's the best?
So many different.
Who's the best? Who's the best?
Come on.
Straight off the top of your head, who's the best?
It's hard between Mick and Daz. Mick Monners and Daz. It's hard. Probably Mick Monners. Daz is just a freak. I wouldn't say he's just a freak of an athlete. Monners could play. He coached us more or less. Monners. He was great.
Rob, is this the best Super League we've seen since like the early days? The quality of some of the players that have signed in the comp. And obviously, Israel Folau coming recently, you know, for all the issues off field that have been bandied around, on the field is an unbelievable player, and we've got quite a few of them in the comp.
Yeah, not only that.
Sonny Bill.
Yeah, and we've been able to hold on to talent as well. You know, you've still got Thompson here. You've got Alex Walmsley here. You know, Alex Walmsley was absolutely immense in that World Club game. You know, he's one that we've got to really hold on to. He's a game changer. Luke Thompson is great, and I love the power game that he plays, but Alex Walmsley unbendable. You can't bend him backwards. He always gets his nose forward. But you're right, you know, you've never seen a Super League that's attracted more talent. Mahe Fanua's back as well. You talked about it, SBW,
Manu Mao. He's my I think I'm really looking forward to seeing him live.
He just frightens people. He frightens everyone.
What's that?
He carts egg. He's just straight off the back fence. We played him round one, didn't we? He's got that reputation down under as well. Everyone's just like, wow, he's immovable. Yes. You know, do you remember right back at the beginning of the Super League, it attracted so much talent, and there was about a decade, and then it sort of seemed to sort of stagnate and trail off a little bit, and it just seems that where there's a brightening happening once again, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. So I'm looking forward to see how this season pans out, to be honest.
Guys, thanks so much. We've run out of time tonight. I think it's superb having you both on the show. Jonesy will be back next week with his man crushes with Paul Sculthorpe next week. Jonesy and Paul Sculthorpe, bit of a weird connection there, but you might see it on the show next week here on Free Sports. Last act, please, can you both put your monikers on the desk, and we'll see you right here for more Rugby AM next week. Thank you for watching. Good night and God bless.
We are working with the Rugby League All-Stars to help support and raise awareness for some of the heroes who play our game. To be a part of it, visit rugbyam.co.uk/All-Star event.